knowing damn well how bad it hurts to expose yourself. Someone's too immersed in their own pain to go and fucking feel yours. If my heart wasn't broke, I'd have gladly healed yours. But this ain't real love, we are just children pretending to be grown. So maybe we can feel love, but this ain't that. It's delayed indifference, and I wish it was different, but it just...
Hello, friends! So, it's early in the year, and I'm looking through and planning out this fairly massive production schedule for my YouTube channel, Curiosity Cubed. And it dawns on me that I've been creating online content since 2005. Yes, long before there was any of the software that's around today. So I further realized that translates into like hundreds of courses and hundreds of hours of online content. So what I did is I looked through a lot of it and I picked my top 10 most interesting, most fulfilling, most really cool courses / projects from the last 15 years. Enjoy.
Can we just skip to the end? I just want to feel again.
Number 8. Bagosphere is an excellent social enterprise training program that started in the rural areas of provinces south of Manila a number of years ago, has since taken that program, expanded it to Manila, and has expanded their programs. It initially started working with people who had dropped out of college or hadn't gone to college and training them for call center jobs through a very innovative 2-month-long program that included communication skills as well as call center jobs as well as interviewing skills, etc. Excellent program. So when I came on as the head of training, I didn't do a whole lot of tweaking of the current curriculum they were using. We did little bits of it, but we were doing a lot of experimenting into other areas. The main thing I focused on was realizing that this excellent young group of trainers really hadn't had much opportunity for further education. So in order to help the company get to where it wanted to go, I brought in a little bit of my own further education for them in our Train the Trainer program. So in the midst of getting to know them, I found out sort of some of our own gap analysis. I'd already been doing a lot of my own neuroscience research prior to coming to them as a follow-up to finishing my master's. I did a lot of Pixar in the box research about storytelling within for learning, because we did a lot of it at Bagosphere and I want to expand it. If you haven't seen this, Google Pixar in a box. You'll love it. I compiled the material that was part of what they were already doing, part of what I had thought needed to be done, the neuroscience and the storytelling pieces. They were using Canvas, so I loaded it all into Canvas. There was both a face-to-face part and an online part. I put it through the LMS. It was delivered through the LMS. They did the first parts of it, a lot of the pre-reading and pre-assignments. They're already using Canvas for their blended learning delivery in the classroom. So I decided to use Canvas as well to do the Train the Trainer program. This is the breakdown of the modules. So there's the overview, which basically lays out how it's supposed to roll. A certain amount of pre-reading they had to do. Of course, the prep reading, all of this material was to have been completed before we did the face-to-face session. I'll go through some of these later. These are a series. These 4 here are a series of articles I had written in LinkedIn the year previous. This was a little bit of the neuroscience basics. I did a bunch more in face-to-face, and then I'll talk a little bit about their philosophy shortly. I did some work on ADDIE. I still believe in ADDIE, though nowadays I use what's called an Agile ADDIE. Walk you through some of this really quick as to what we did. So for example, let's take about this one. Short blog about learning is not linear. I am in the admin view. I'm not going to do the student view because I don't want to have to fill in all of the applications, but I will do the preview. So here we are. The learning is not linear. It starts off with this quote and then goes through how I've developed it. They would have to read through it. Here are the links to the articles that had been used as sources for this if they wanted to do more in-depth reading. and then we'll come up with here, and then there would be a short but really intense assignment for each reading. So in this case, if training wanted to take on the role of content curator, which is a big piece of the article here, and which I've further developed since then, what would we have to change? And so though this might seem simple to answer, they knew I wouldn't take a simple answer. I wanted them, it didn't have to be a long, but it had to be drilled down into some very specifics and how that would relate to content from the article that they had read. So I'll quickly zip back to the modules here. I'll go down to the neuroscience piece. There was a lot of neuroscience, great neuroscience research coming out a number of years ago when I was there. So from this short video, and I would do more with them, like I said, in face-to-face, this is just to give them some concepts to start thinking about, and how might we be able to make our training stick more. And this is the idea of stickiness, but stickiness based on what they had seen from neuroscience research in the video. And then the last piece of this pre-reading, this is a short stint of me, and I've done these sections not just as a reading and then do the assignment separately. I put it all together within free LMS like Canvas and Moodle. The easiest way to do these or make them all quizzes, basically. You can have the graded or non-graded, etc. So reading about my concept, philosophy of learning. And so in one or two sentences, how would you describe your philosophy of learning? Now, this is really to help them drill down their approach, to understand the underlying assumptions they make whenever they are in a classroom or whenever they are developing material. And so I said in one or two sentences, it usually ends up being about a paragraph. But it's their philosophy of learning. So it's learner-centric. It is not education. Now, they were very much learner-centric in the classroom, but some of the content that had been written was very much education pushed focused. And so I wanted them to be rethinking and be learner-centric in everything that they were doing. So these would come to me via email. I would either answer email, or I'd answer one-to-one, or sometimes in the face-to-face session we would deal with some of these issues as well. I would also obviously hear them talking about some of these issues with themselves. I'm not going to spend too much time on the Bloom, but I am going to pop down here. So why stories? This starts with an article from Richard Branson that is just going to go through and talk about the power of storytelling within business, but also within education. And then Pixar here is great. Basically, they break it down to Pixar in a Box is actually a Pixar course on how to tell stories. It's amazing. So here is why we are doing this. This is a little bit about the things they need to do. And so what would happen here is they would watch this short video and then answer these questions, and then watch this another short video and then answer some of these questions. And so it was always about, it would start out generally to make sure they've got the concept, and then the second part would be to make sure that they would get a chance to apply that to what they were doing in the classroom or the new materials that they were writing for new programs. Then I did a series of face-to-face sessions, and that was our internal feedback loop as I got information from them, one, during the session, and two, a while after the session, so they would have a time to reflect on what had been covered.
Knowing damn well how bad it hurts to expose yourself. Someone's too immersed in their own pain to go and fucking feel yours. If my heart wasn't broke, I'd have gladly healed yours. But this ain't real love, we are just children pretending to be grown. So maybe we can feel love, but this ain't that. It's delayed indifference, and I wish it was different, but it